One of the things that the whole broadcast team really wanted to work on was expanding the amount of people we have on our show. And you've seen that in some of the rotating guests. I'm very fortunate that off broadcast, I have a pretty big role to play in making that a reality. And I can guarantee you that for summer, I've got even bigger plans. I want to bring, more names, more faces, maybe have more of a rotation. And fortunately, the viewers have enjoyed it, and we've been very lucky that the guys that have worked with us and joined us, like Amazing and Freeze and Law, have just provided so much great insight and personality, and the viewers have clicked with them. So, I'm hoping to keep that up, and I'm hoping to keep feedback open. So if something doesn't work, we can pivot, we can make that work, or we can get the training needed to make the people improve. And it's just an exciting time to be in EU with the games, with the broadcast, with, the positivity online, and we just want to keep that up.
Hey everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller. I'm very honored to be joined by one of the most iconic members of the EU LCS cast, Trevor Henry, also known as Quickshot. How do you do?
Very good. Thank you very much for your kind words.
Well, the first question I have for you, right? You started casting by casting Call of Duty 4, and you even had a proper Call of Duty game attack with the Quickshot being the I being
lead
one.
Lead speak, man.
Lead speak all the way.
I did, and I got involved because I've always been involved. Like, I've been watching or playing esports for probably about 16 years now. I competed a lot in South Africa, where I was from, and I was very fortunate. I even got to attend Call of Duty events internationally. Okay. I won an event that sent me to DreamHack. I found sponsorship that sent me to Antwerp Esports Festival. Got my ass kicked by European teams, but it was a learning experience, right? You learn the skill difference.
And going there must have been an incredible experience by itself.
It was. I mean, I've been a very active LAN goer my whole life. Where I lived in South Africa, there was an event called MPLD, Monthly Pretoria LAN Day, shout out. And I would attend that every single month for about 4 years. Okay. We don't have very strong internet connections in South Africa. So that was how you connected and played. Going to DreamHack with 12,000 people at the time, everybody having 100 meg download, and being at a 12,000 person LAN, it blew my mind. And it's where I really felt like I wanted to work in the space.
I can only imagine that being an incredible experience. Now, given that you are from South Africa and you experienced the South African esports scene firsthand, of course, don't you think it's a bit sad to see that mostly Africa in the esports area is very underdeveloped compared to other regions? Of course
it is, but it's basically like saying it sucks to see warm climates and warm temperature places doing bad in the Winter Olympics. Okay. We don't have the technology. We don't have the finances. We don't have the internet backbone. And then we have even more complications that the country of South Africa is bigger than half of Europe combined. So add latency into the effect that if you want to compete on servers, even just within South Africa, you have very high pings. Then you add the distance between South Africa and the rest of the world. You can't compete on European servers. You can't compete on North American servers. So there's a number of reasons that hold the region back. And some of them will take time to fix, like money, like infrastructure. But you're never going to make fiber optic cables from Europe to South Africa faster until the next evolution of tech. So those limitations need to get overcome. Something that's very exciting, though, is the Counter-Strike scene is very, very well developed. And there's a number of CS 1.6 and CSGO teams that have competed internationally and done relatively well. So there is hope, but it's just difficult. The climate and the environment holds the country back.
Yeah, and that can, it also kind of shows, though, regions say like Brazil or Australia have also, they obviously don't have the same infrastructure issues, but I lived in Australia for 3 years, and I can only say their internet is just really horrible as well.
Yes, I mean, Australia is even bigger than everywhere else, right? So they have the same sort of things, but fortunately for the Australian climate, the expenditure, the minimum salary, the awareness around internet culture and connectivity is so much stronger. So they've got a fairly strong local scene, albeit it's much smaller than everywhere else.
At least they sometimes go to Worlds at times, of course. And if not, they're in the news for Tainted Minds and other stuff happening there. Oh, it's a new fine by right. Yeah, it's probably OC if that's affected. So, okay, let's talk a bit about the current EU LCS, because I'm loving it right now. Not only because it's competitive, but we could finish this day on a five-way tie. That's just beautiful to me as a European.
It is. It's just terrifying to me as a shoutcaster, For anybody that watches more than a couple games a day, it can it can become frustrating to keep hearing us talk about the playoff race, keep reminding the standings. But the truth is, we've never had a split this competitive. I've been fortunate enough to be with the EU LCS since it started in 2013. And at no point in the last 6 years has there been a situation that we find ourselves in. Last year, we lost a number of teams. Every single squad, moved some players around. So what ended up happening is the top caliber teams got a little weaker. That also meant the bottom caliber teams got a little stronger and the middle caliber teams traded power. So now that we've got this like slightly smaller scale, everybody's beating everybody. It makes for some very compelling games. It makes for some very interesting matchups. And what I love the most is we're seeing such a strong growth in viewership and on local languages. And we're seeing some big peaks and spikes because we've got these great stories. Because in week 6, Fnatic versus G2 for first. Now today in week 8, G2 Splice and Vitality are fighting for second place.
And it's amazing to see. And of course, Splice really came out of the woodwork. They're on a 4-game winning spree as well. Vitality kind of slugged off, but they're coming back. It's just amazing. I wouldn't be able to tell who would get that second place. I would guess Fnatic.
Nobody can. We actually put a couple of players and our colorcasters on the spot and said, give us your top 6. We tracked those predictions in week 6, and we're going to review them next week to see who was right.
Okay.
And the truth is, I don't know. If anybody follows us on Twitter and you see the caster predictions, my God, last week was terrible because nobody knew who was going to come out on top. I got 5 out of 10, and I think that was a pretty good result. So I was really happy with that for sure. Really difficult to see. That said, I think Deficio is still first with a caster prediction. So impressive performance. Yes, it is, and he reminds us on a daily basis. He's not the most humble in victory. However, he is predicting correctly, and he's not taking any chances like the rest of us. So
as long as you're technically correct, it's the best form of
Exactly.
So I do have to nail you down on this one, though, because I think I asked Dracos, and he tried to dodge the question. Vedius, dodge this question. I ask you, please answer this question. Who will make playoffs, and will Misfits do it?
Who will make playoffs and will Misfits do it? So it's 2 questions, not one, so you've already lied to me. Secondly, I will go with, I'm just going to list them. Okay, so seeds, slightly irrelevant, but I think G2 Fnatic, Vitality, Splice are safe bets. I expect Misfits to do it. I think it would be a major shock for them not to make it in. And looking at the current teams, my 6th seed is probably going to be Rocket.
Interesting.
I think the 6th seed is going to be a little bit more up for debate if you look at some of the squads and the rosters. But Rocket will be playing today. I haven't yet seen their game. So I'll see how confident I feel. But yes, that's going to be my 6th and final prediction.
And interestingly enough, if Rocket do win against Fnatic of all teams, of course, they are tied with Misfits for 7-7. So
importantly, if they take down Fnatic are then no longer safe in first. They could be tied. Like, let's say G2 win, then Fnatic lose. Then that means first place is also up for grabs. At week 8.
It's so beautiful. It's amazing. I sometimes, with a little tear in my eye, I look back at my pre-spring split predictions, and I think I placed Splice as number 2.
Ooh.
Interesting. Fnatic as number 1. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So much like Deficio, not particularly humble in your predictions either.
No, with the rest, because I completely...
but you should stop there. You should stop there because you see nobody's going to go check. They'll just trust you and be like, "Oh, you're right."
Yeah, right. So that video it's now on private. Sorry, you guys can't watch it anymore. Unlucky. Well, we've seen a lot more people join the cast. For example, Freeze today is on the analyst desk. Amazing is now joining as a caster, and he's been doing a good job at that. I feel Laure has been in and out. So much stuff is going on. It's so alive all of a sudden.
It is, and it's something that has taken a long time to set up. It's really, really difficult to find voices and personalities that you can trust to go on broadcast that will deliver compelling stories. And we made a pretty big shift this year to the entire broadcast. One of the things that the whole broadcast team really wanted to work on was expanding the amount of people we have on our show. And you've seen that in some of the rotating guests. I'm very fortunate that off broadcast, I have a pretty big role to play in making that a reality. And I can guarantee you that for summer, I've got even bigger plans. I want to bring, more names, more faces, maybe have more of a rotation. And fortunately, the viewers have enjoyed it, and we've been very lucky that the guys that have worked with us and joined us, like Amazing and Freeze and Law, have just provided so much great insight and personality, and the viewers have clicked with them. So, I'm hoping to keep that up, and I'm hoping to keep feedback open. So if something doesn't work, we can pivot. We can make that work, or we can get the training needed to make the people improve. And it's just an exciting time to be in EU with the games, with the broadcast, with the positivity online, and we just want to keep that up.
The stars have finally aligned. Now, about your work as a caster, because I've been doing this for about 1.5 years now, and I always vividly remember one specific game I had to attend live, and that was the Rocket vs. Origin series of last year, where you and Deficio, it was a best of 3 as well. It was the worst game to have a best of 3 in. First game was like 55 minutes. It's like, I don't even want to remember it. I was sitting in the audience, and you guys were having a laugh.
I have to correct you. The first game was in fact 82 minutes.
Okay, even worse.
It was the first victory of Nei Hyun on our stage.
True.
And it was very well received, and it was well branded as the Teleclown Wars of the EU LCS. And it was a fun time. It's very rare to get a situation where the two bottom teams are both winless.
Yeah.
And they have to beat each other, because back then we had 2 groups, of course. Both teams in their respective groups have been smashed by everybody.
0-7, both of them.
0-7, both of them. And then we had cross-group play. Literally, someone had to win, no matter what it took. And then we just had this ridiculous game. I think we ended up having 14 or 15 inhibitors going down as well. It was just, it was mental in the best kind of way.
So, as a caster, you obviously remember probably some of the fantastic moments at Worlds and all that kind of stuff, but aren't those clown fiestas the true pinnacle of it all?
It depends what you enjoy, right? It really depends what you enjoy, because that is one of the most entertaining things. And if you watch it as if you were watching a regular TV series, for entertainment value, yes, it is the pinnacle. But if you watch it as if it's a competitive sport and you have to evaluate team decisions and player skill, well, then you're going to have a few other words to say. It depends on your thing. I will admit it is very fun casting those games. When you have those crazy moments that you can just get lost in and you can celebrate. And when you have somebody next to you like Deficio who can also get lost in the craziness, and the two of us are very fortunate that we complement one another's nutso moments. We managed to get something magical, even though it wasn't the cleanest representation of competitive league.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I think you guys even wore clown faces and everything.
So Deficio felt very strongly that this is going to be an interesting series, right? And no matter what happens, somebody was going to get the first win. So he had asked, what do you think about doing a special celebration? And I said, let's do it. Let's just not tell anybody, because it could be offensive. So we got some party hats, we got some clown noses, we got some confetti. It took about 3 months to clean all the confetti up, by the way, because we threw so much of it. But yes, we prepared and we really embraced that, hey, for this game, we want it to be entertainment. For this game, we want to make something that could be terrible, that could be maybe laughed at. To make something that we laugh with people, instead of flaming players and directing players. What people remember is the enjoyment of how bad it was, instead of picking on the guys. And I think that's one of the things I'm actually very proud of, is turning what could have been a shit show into a very entertaining, very fun, memorable moment.
Yeah, it definitely was. And you remember those fun times, those funny moments for sure. I think everyone in the crowd did as well. And I think you did a really good job at that. Deficio as well, of course.
Yes, of course. It takes 2 to tango, right? You need that extra person. And thank you very much. It is it's one of the highlights of my career. I don't know, but I'll take it.
Okay, one last question. Is the Star Destroyer fully built yet?
It is not. It is the Millennium Falcon, in fact. I have to correct you there. The largest Lego kit built. I actually put it on pause. So the kit comes, it's over 7,500 pieces. It's split into 17 stages, right? And each of the stages is numbered. I got up to stage 10. And then I took a break in the middle of the split for a small vacation. And the makeup lady here in the EU LCS, I'm very close with her. And then she has a very young son who's a huge Star Wars fan. I promised him I'd build some of the stages with him. Aww. So after about a month pause, he's coming over on Sunday. We have a play date. And yeah, we'll be finishing it. So probably by the time this airs shortly after, there'll be a bunch of photos up, and I aim to finish it before playoffs start.
Nice. So make sure to follow his Instagram as well.
That's it.
Do you have anything to say to the EU LCS fans out there?
Just thank you so much for watching. Please let us know what you think is working and what you think could be worked on. We're very proud of the work we've done this year, and we just hope to keep making it enjoyable for you and everybody watching.
Of course, this was Quickshot from the EU LCS and Darius from the Shotcaller. Hope you had a good day. See you then. Hey everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, and I hope you just enjoyed that interview. This is a generic end card, so make sure to click here for another interview or here for a different interview. And if you want to check out more content, specifically from the NALCS, make sure to visit theshotcaller.net for more interviews and other esports content. Have a good day.